On this episode of Industry Relations, Rob and I discuss Tesla, VW bugs, design, and real estate. Let's go.
This is Industry Relations, a podcast that's at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective, with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
Hi, everybody. This is Greg, and I wanted to give a quick shout out to our newest sponsor, CoreLogic. There has never been a time when it's been more crucial for real estate agents to demonstrate their value to their clients, and CoreLogic has all the tools for them to do so. One Home has generated over 17 million unique users who are exploring listing and neighborhood data. Their invitation-only client portal has also amassed 2.3 billion listing views, and their new photo AI search helps turn clients' visual aspirations into reality. For agents on the go, there's MLS Touch, which is their top-rated real estate app in the App Store, which gives agents instant access to critical MLS data wherever they are, and also can be branded for collaboration as a client version. Next up is RealList. RealList gives agents expert level analysis of properties, which helps their clients make smarter decisions and also can help them with their lead generation efforts. All of this is underpinned by Matrix, the industry's leading MLS system. Currently, CoreLogic is rolling out Matrix 12, which will have a brand new interface that works perfect for mobile and desktop. Lots of great stuff happening at CoreLogic. Don't forget an update from your favorite rep, whether that's Rick, Todd, Kim, Lauren, or the rest of the crew, or visit their website. You can look at the link in the show notes. My thanks again for CoreLogic for sponsoring Industry Relations.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of Industry Relations with Rob and Greg. This is your host, the Notorious Rob, and as always, my co-host, the fabulous Greg Robertson.
Hola.
Dude, I'm loving your haircut right now.
I know. I got it yesterday. I don't know.
Nice. It looks phenomenal. Keep that cut.
You think so? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little pointy right now. I should have combed it better.
I don't know. It looks good. Sexy. Not that you weren't sexy before. I mean, no.
Oh, speaking of sexy, I crossed the thing here. So
the thing. Update the murder. We can't, what does it say? I can't see it.
10.1 pounds lost.
Down. All right.
Yeah.
Right on, man. So what's you know what? Let's actually talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
What is your strategy? What's your weight loss regimen right now? Because I know Via Williams, by the way, I think did a webinar. I think I sent that to you. I don't know if you got on it.
I didn't get the chance to see it though.
But so we don't know. She might opine about what the strategy is, but I want to hear the Greg Robertson strategy.
Yeah, it's just eat less, move more, basically, right?
Calorie in, calorie out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. So it's just bad habits. I mean, I'm trying to not eat after, 7 p.m., that kind of thing. And then, and then tail off as much as I can to eat the second time. And typically, I'll have a shake, or if I can't really make it, I'll have something sensible. And then what I haven't really I got to stop a little bit of still I just have to have a little bit of something sweet at the end of the day here. So it's just, I got to plan that. But I mean, mostly it's just walking more. I started to go back and lift a bit more now, starting this past week. Good. I wasn't doing that before because my left knee was really bothering me, but it's much better now. So I felt I could do that.
Yeah.
More protein and less of the carbs kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's hard. I mean, it's for somebody who's struggled, almost his whole life. It's just, But I think now with everything it's just a little bit more.
All right, man.
I'm
going to give you a whole bunch of bad nutritional advice.
Okay. Right? Here's the 72-hour fast that you're
I'm going to give you the whole, all kinds of really bad nutritional advice. And of course, our listeners, and especially if people are watching on YouTube, are going to be like, don't do what Rob said.
This is Dr. Alex Haberman here.
Exactly. We need more expert people to opine on this, but this is I'm gonna just, so you could jot this down, you could replay this. All right. 1. Okay. Immediately go to 16-8 intermittent fasting.
16-8.
All that means is you skip breakfast. Is all that means.
Right.
Okay. So you can have coffee, right? What all that, okay? But here's the
No
thing:
sugar.
you have to learn to enjoy black coffee.
Right.
No sugar, no cream. Right.
What about like stevia or something like that?
Stevia
like,
is fine.
Equal.
Yeah. Zero calorie. Like to start
Equal.
out, right? Just start skipping breakfast. Have lunch. Have dinner. Don't worry about food types, etc. Just start that. Okay.
So so this is 16/8 is what you said. So if
That's what's called. Right. So there's eating window of 8 hours.
Let's say you end at 6, then it's 12 to the other 6.
No, it's 12 to 8. So basically, you can eat from noon to 8 p.m.
Noon to 8 p.m. Okay.
Which works up easily.
8 o'clock
8
at night.
PM,
Yeah,
right.
that's pretty late for eating.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think, but,
exactly.
yeah.
So what I'm saying is, so if you have lunch at noon, have dinner at 6, you have 2 hours, right? To say, okay, and then after 8, no food, no calories, nothing. So black coffee, water. Okay, so that's week 1.
Okay.
It's just to 16/8. Nothing else changes. Eat whatever you want. Have your ice cream, the sweets, all that. Just 16/8. Okay, that's week 1.
All right.
Week 2, you cut out all sugar.
All sugar. That's like bread, everything, right?
No, not carbs. Sugar, specifically.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
all
but
right.
included in that, alcohol.
Okay.
Right, because alcohol metabolizes immediate sugar. So just get rid of sugar.
Pasta and bread immediately
Right.
metabolize
So keep
sugar?
the carbs, right?
Okay.
Just the sugar, right?
Okay. So basically,
no
candy and no
alcohol.
daddy's medicine.
Exactly. None of,
Okay.
right? That's week 2. Okay. All right. Week 3, cut out the carbs.
Right.
Right. And I would say do like a month of just keto.
And then after that, it basically extend that for 4 weeks, basically.
I think 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, because it gets hard, right? But I think anyone could do 2 weeks of keto.
Well, you just said a month of keto. That's basically
I know. I'm
no
going to
carbs,
change it,
yeah.
right? I'm going to change it. It's like 2 weeks of keto, right? Because what you're doing is you're just getting your body kind of acclimated to this new way of doing it, right?
Okay.
Then, so that's like a month, right?
Right.
So you've done a month of like slowly, progressively, a little bit, more discipline.
Right.
Okay. Then the next week, just skip one breakfast. I mean, skip one lunch. Okay.
Right.
Like every other day. So you're basically going from 2 days of 16/8 and then 3 days of one meal a day.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you just keep skipping. So I think the ideal would be, and here's the thing, it makes it easier if you're keto. If you're not having carbs. And the reason for it is really weird. It's this way my trainer nutritionist taught me is your body has to get adapted to burning fat. Okay. And I can send you some books. There's some Dr. Fung, Jason Fung on the YouTubes. Really useful. All right. Okay.
So hold on now. So let me get this straight, right?
Yeah.
So it's 16/8 for 1 week, right?
Well, 16/8 for like 4 weeks, basically.
Okay, so for 4 weeks. Okay, all right. We got it up here, and then the next week of that,
it's the same 16/8, but so the first week is just 16/8.
Right.
Second week, cut sugar and alcohol.
Okay, right, yeah. So sugar and alcohol out,
Right. Out.
right,
And then week 3 and 4, right, start transitioning to start cutting carbs. No bread, no pasta, right? No rice, no potatoes.
Right.
Start cutting carbs. Okay.
And then
week 5, right? Go to one meal a day, twice a week.
Okay, but that's not a 16/8. What would you qualify that as?
One meal a day.
Okay,
so you
that
just
would
have dinner.
be right. So I mean,
so like Tuesday, Thursday, you're just having dinner.
Your fast would be
24.
A 24-hour fast.
Essentially, right?
Well,
Think about it. So let's say on a Monday, you have lunch and dinner.
Right.
Okay. And then Tuesday, you just have dinner. So that means from Monday dinner to Tuesday dinner, you went 24 hours.
Okay.
Right?
So every other day fast?
Every other day, skip lunch.
But it's a fast, right?
It's a fast, yeah.
Right. It's a 24-hour fast.
Yeah. Every other day. But one meal a day is super easy. You know who does this and who's done this forever? And we used to make fun of him because we don't understand it, was Stefan. Stefan Swanepoel,
Oh,
I think
really?
he's been intermittent fasting like for 20 years, as long as I've known him. Okay. All right, now.
Okay,
And
hold
then
on.
basically, so 2 weeks of that, and then go to 2 weeks, one meal a day. And you'd be
2
surprised.
weeks. Okay, well, you're just continuing basically that.
Basically that, but now that's every other day. Now you're going to go to 2 weeks of every day.
Okay. So 24-hour fast.
Every single day.
Every day for 2 weeks.
Right?
Every day for 2 weeks? Not
Yeah,
eat
because basically what you're saying is you don't have breakfast and lunch. You just have dinner every day.
Okay.
And your dinners are low carb. So you're having steak, right?
One meal a day for 2 weeks.
Right. You're having all proteins and fats.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let me go back. Let me give it back to you, right?
Yeah. All right.
Let me give it back to you here. All right. So 16-8.
Yep.
You start off. That's a base of this, right?
That's the base. Right.
Okay.
Easy.
Then we go the second week of that base, we're going to go to a no sugar, no alcohol.
That's right.
Type of regimen,
That's right.
Then the following week, the third and the fourth week, we're going to eliminate carbs altogether.
It's taper down. Right?
Okay. So it comes down. Okay.
Yeah.
Comes down.
By the end of it, by the end of it, you have zero carbs.
Right. Okay.
Right.
And then it start basically a 24-hour fast every day. Basically
Every
one
other
meal
day.
a day. Every other day. Every
Correct.
other day.
Correct.
Right. So that's one meal a day down to, every other day. Every other day.
Right.
And then after that, and that's a week of that?
I think a week should be enough. Maybe 2 weeks. Try 2 weeks of that. Right.
2 weeks. And then after that, it's just basically going to be one meal a day for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
So that's going to be, 1, 2,
that's
3,
2 months.
4, 2 months, 60 days.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
I bet you dropped 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Doing just that.
Yeah. Well, so then how do these conferences fit into this?
I know that's the real tough part, man. That is the real tough part.
Yeah. So I have this feeling that I'm going to be at the Aria at Javier's.
Yeah.
As one does.
Of course, as one does.
And, having some lunch or dinner with a client. And
sure.
I'm just going to get all these looks from everybody as I cut into my fajitas.
What's great about this whole plan, though, it's not a diet, right? It's like a lifestyle. So fact is, obviously, when shit happens, you're just going to do what you got to do, right? So if you're doing that, you know what? Then have a drink. Have a margarita, right? Have whatever. But, you could still be like, you're Javier's, maybe you're ordering the carne asada instead of the enchilada.
Right.
Maybe you're not having the Mexican rice that comes with it. Maybe you're having, and then, have the alcohol, right? Have the flan, right? I mean, you gotta live, right? And then when you get back from it, then, go back to.
Then you're back on it.
Right. And then you're back on it.
Yeah, I've got to look at
that's what makes it
I've got to look
flexible.
at the schedule.
Yeah, if anyone ever meets me at a conference, they don't think I'm doing anything, right? Because I'm just drinking shots. I'm not, it's like, okay, but when I get back, I'll tell you what, I'm doing a 72.
Right. 72. God damn. That's tough.
Here's the thinking, right? And I understand we have talked zero about real estate. This is like the weirdest podcast we've ever done, but that's okay.
Yeah.
If you're going to one meal a day, right? Which I'm telling you is pretty easy. A lot of people just live like that. Right? Just have dinner and you have a lot of food. You eat until you're full, right? So it's like you're depriving yourself particularly. A 48 hours is just skipping a dinner.
Right.
Right. And then a 72 is just skipping 2 dinners. That's it.
Yeah. If you're already on the one meal a day plan.
Right. That's why we're kind of getting you to that point. So obviously what comes after this 60 days is do a 48. And then you do a 72, right? And then we could talk about what that looks like when you're doing that. You need electrolytes. So you need to have water with these electrolyte additives and all that stuff. So
electrolyte, can't you just kind of sprinkle some salt in there?
You can, but it doesn't taste good.
Salt water, yeah.
Yeah. So there's all these companies that have popped up. Like Element is a big one. right? They're pretty expensive. There's a company called Relight. It's a brand that I use. All these are on Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just put one of those into your bottle of water, and they drink water all day.
Yeah, I was talking to another industry. I mean, it's been great getting a lot of people giving me some advice just like you are. And, one of the big advice I got from her was she drinks a gallon of water a day. And I'm like, God, that is the worst thing. I cannot.
Yeah.
I don't know how to kind of incorporate that into my my kind of lifestyle thing tough. Here, right? That's tough.
Yeah. And then the last controversial statement, stop walking and doing all that shit, start lifting.
No, yeah. So right. I mean, I know that. I know the weight training.
It's actually like a much more simple thing and it took me a while to understand it. It's just that muscle burns more.
Yeah.
That's all. So you just want more muscle. Right?
No, I feel much better lifting than I do anything. But it's hard to get back on that routine again.
All right. So obviously, as you can tell from our first 30 minutes of conversation, whatever, there's not a heck of a lot going on in real estate right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, we there are some topics, but we sometimes should probably stay away from.
No, and obviously, we had the last couple of weeks have been pretty heavy. Yeah, I think they've been really good, and I think likely we're going to get into some big topics coming up. And I think there are things we want to talk about, but there was one thing that I kind of wanted to reflect on, just like brainstorm with you, right?
Yeah.
And it stems directly from my experience with the new Model 3, Tesla Model 3, what they call the Highland Edition, the 2024 model. Okay. So we just picked one up, leasing it because I think EVs
Is that the one that gets more mileage or more range or something?
No, I don't know shit about it other than it's the one that has vented seats, which is why we're switching because we live in Vegas and vented seats are.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. So the previous edition I didn't have it. And I didn't know this.
Did you turn in your other one or do you have two now?
Yeah. No, we don't have two now. No, hell no. Like, I don't like Teslas to begin with. So why would I have two,
Well, you bought another one if you don't like it.
But here's the thing. So when I say that, I mean, you're kind of a car guy. I know you're into the old VW buses, right? For me, to the level of car, there has to be like an emotional element.
Yeah.
Right?
Why would you not?
Right. So for me,
why would you buy a car? You're not kind of cool. Yeah.
Well, but for me, like the emotional element is tied to like the engine noise, the vibration, like the mechanical.
Yes, totally
right?
get that.
Tesla is a soulless transportation utility. For me.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
Like it goes real fast. It's a great, it's like, that's true. But
I don't have one, but I mean, they're very intriguing, but I mean,
but you know what I mean? But there's no passion there. It's soulless, right? That's the best I can put it. I don't so I've owned my Tesla for 3 years. I never once felt like I love this car. I never felt that way. Right. Whereas like my old VW GTI, I love this car, or
Oh, you had a GTI, huh?
Yeah,
those things are cool. I wanted to get Cole one of those, or Toby, my middle son, but they're a little bit of too much of a racetrack for that.
No, GTIs.
Yeah,
I think the problem is they're too young for a GTI. GTI is for guys in their 30s. It's a very responsible, grown-up hot hatch. A young guy should be driving like Elantra N's and Civic Type R's. And,
I've seen a lot of the GTI community here in Southern California is a bit different where you see a lot of these things just tricked out like you would believe.
A lot of tuning and But now you're spending $40,000 on a $30,000 car and I'm like, I don't understand that. But in any event, so I picked this new thing up and I had done zero research. Right, other than vented seats. So I was like, okay, we have a Model 3. We're going to get a Model 3 vented seats. Like that seems like a no-brainer. I did zero research.
And it's a Model 3 Highlander? What did you call it?
That's the model that the community called the Highland model. It's the 2024 model. They refreshed it. So here's the topic. What I didn't realize until I picked up this motherfucking car is they got rid of the turn signal stalks.
Right.
I didn't know that. Instead, they replaced it with two little buttons on the steering wheel.
Okay.
And what it made me realize is this is possibly the worst decision I think Elon and Tesla have ever made. Because I spent, 40 years of my life just, like when you're driving, right? oh, you got to turn, like, it's just automatic. You just, right? Turn to the left, your hand just goes and flicks down or flicks up, right? And important. So this motherfucker, like, you have to actually actively think about pressing a button on, and it's, right? And the user experience is terrible because if you're turning, right, then the button's in this weird position. You can't really press it to give a turn signal.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it should undo when, most cars so what I mean is as you complete your turn.
But let's say you have 2 quick turns you got to make, right?
Right.
So you got to turn right onto a busy road and then you got to turn left. Like before, it's like you flick to the right and then you turn right and then you flick to the left and you turn left, right? Because again, if you think about the user experience, when you turn the wheel, the stalk is still in the same place. The stalk doesn't move with the wheel.
Yeah.
These buttons move with the wheel. So there are times it's like up here and you're trying to find the button to press to go left. Like it's a terrible design, right? Now, what made me think about it and why I want to talk about it is, and I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, Elon's a smart guy. Tesla's filled with smart people. Why would they make this dumbass decision? It makes zero sense, to do this. Like you've actively gone and made the UX worse. Okay. The only thing that made sense is because what they want is they want everyone to go full self-drive. Meaning the car drives itself.
Right.
So, earlier this year, I mean, they gave like a giveaway. They gave every Tesla owner a self-drive subscription for free for like a month. So we could all experience it, right? And so they could collect a lot of data. When we picked up the car, because it's brand new, they gave you 30 days of full self-drive. And then you could buy it for $100 a month, whatever it is. Then it makes sense. In other words, the idea is you're never actually going to drive that car. You're going to allow the robot to drive the car for you. Then what do you need turn signals for?
Right.
Right? Because when you're doing self-drive, it'll signal, right? Here's what I'm realizing. Las Vegas, I think we're second only to LA, like Southern California, in Tesla ownership per capita. Like in this downtown, like it's Teslas as far as the eye can see,
Right.
There's common
a lot here too, yeah.
Right? I think we're going to see some really awful driving in Las Vegas going forward because people are not going to signal to change lanes.
And they're not going to have the self-drive on, is what you're saying too, right?
Unless they have self-drive, right? And so what it made me think was, okay, Tesla's kind of embracing the fact that they're soulless machines. No one's going to fall in love with them. They're just transportation utility devices. And ultimately, it's going to go to full AI self-drive. So they're eliminating the human interaction components. Okay. Is this not the potential future for real estate? When we think about like AI is coming, everybody's working on AI. The user experience of the MLS is, famously shitty. Are we getting to a point where like the idea is, you know what? We don't really need to worry about kind of the human interaction components of technology because we don't expect you to interact with it. Like the machine's got to do it for you.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack in what you said here. Yeah. So what I would say is a couple things. I run into Tesla owners that love their cars.
You do?
They're just geeks, and they just love all the screen and all the things that
they love the tech.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
they don't love the drive. They're not drivers.
They love people that I know that have longer commutes love the Tesla.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I think, you may not have that experience, right? I mean, you work from home, but I think there's a lot of people out there that love the tech, that are very tech enthusiasts. Right. They don't have to pay for gas. They love, the design, even the design of the cars they love, although it's a little bit basic in there. So I think, there's, I like certain types of cars. You like certain types of cars. I would say there's a lot of people out there that are huge Tesla fans, and I can kind of get it, right? But,
no, hold on. So let me clarify here. Of course, there are lots of Tesla fans. I'm a fan. I'm a Tesla fan myself. Like I said, this is the second Tesla, right? That I have. And it's great. Like the fact that I don't have to I charge my car from home. I never go to a gas station. I realized this when I traded in the older Model 3. In 3 years of ownership, I did zero maintenance on that car.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no oil change for obvious reasons, right? Things like that.
Yeah.
So, and the tech is really cool. I'm just saying I don't love it. Like it's not a car. So to me, that's why I keep calling it a transportation utility device.
Yeah.
It's a ton.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I think the one things I do have, and I think it's, I don't know if it's like a boomer thing, like, okay, boomer, you don't have your turn signaling thing anymore, right? I mean, there's a lot of things. I do love the tactical stuff of that. I think I have an S5, an Audi S5, and I think Audi does the best job of their dash and their things. Although there is a stupid thing in the S5
for sure.
where you have to like toggle the fan, which drives me to no end crazy, right? But I have like, two vintage VWs, right? I have a 62 VW Beetle and a 59 bus, right? And I marvel at the Beetle, and this goes back to a lot of things for me, but there's this bit of like taking things away, right? And I think there's probably a cost element too, right? It probably is. It might be easier to manufacture a car that way, getting the cost down to add those buttons. And then he thinks, well, at one point everybody's going to have a self-driving, like you say, that might be a case also, right? But it's a design thing, and I really kind of think about this stuff a lot. And one of my favorite programs they just had season 3 of here was called The Bear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's phenomenal.
We've talked about this on the podcast before. Yeah. There's such a correlation between high-end restaurants and I think the creative process of that. And I've said before, I mean, if I ever start a company again, when I got people around me, it's going to be, yes, chef. Yes, chef. Heard. I just love that mutual respect and that kind of like efficiency, kind of not militaristic, but just like, get to the point and let's move on and focus on what's important. And on this last episode, I'll read back to cars here a bit, is that, it's all about this thing about getting to the essence. And this has been kind of something that I saw in the last season here that I've been kind of thinking about a lot. And that's this. Subtract. And that's not like, I mean, oh yeah, you're trying to lose weight or whatever, but there's a lot of that. And the best, and we're working with a company now that I'm very excited about that is going to come out later this year. And a lot of the companies, a lot of discussion we have is like, what can we take away from here to make this better, to get exactly what it is? And I think that's a little bit. I noticed like on my 62 VW, it doesn't have a right side rear view mirror, right? You know why? Because it's so small. You just look over to your right and it's, it's right there. It doesn't have a pull up locking mechanism door. You just take the handle that opens it, you put it down, and that locks the door. Why do we have, you see, as people go forward, you keep adding. And I think you have to look at the past for some sort of inspirations of like what we can subtract, right, from those kind of products. And I think, so to me, it feels a little bit like that, but also I think you're right. It's a little nudge, right, to kind of that future. There's a good book that's called Nudge, and one of the things they talk about is how they're using design to like help people make decisions. So they were trying to get kids to eat healthier. So what they started to do is start to put the healthier food at eye level as they went through the cafeteria line.
Right.
And discovered, more people would choose healthier choices when they're up in that point, right? So I think maybe Elon's trying to do that to you, is like, by removing those things, he's trying to nudge you in a different direction, right?
But, for sure. It's human programming. Yeah. Right?
So,
but here's what I love what you said. So there's two things to think about here. One is technology as a whole. And I think real estate, it's not like real estate is immune from technology. Obviously, technology impacts the way we do things. Clearly, all of the attention and focus right now is in AI, right? Like, all these companies are just, it reminds you a little bit of .com days, the first .com, right? Yeah. You take some company and throw .com at the end of it, trucking.com, construction.com, whatever, right? And it's like, now you just throw AI, so it's, but I'm saying, but the general philosophy sort of seems to be, instead of thinking about the human machine interface, right? Because that's what a car is. A beautiful car is the human machine interface is perfect. Like the steering wheel, the accelerator, the brake, the shifters, right? Instead of thinking about that, it's more like, let's remove that because the machine interface is going to be AI, right? And
Well-
so at some point, like I could easily see like the next generation of Tesla having no screen. Because what do you need a
Sure.
screen for? Right? Just
Well, I
use
mean,
your
they
voice.
talk about robo-taxis all the
Right.
time where you
Right.
change the whole...
Right.
But in this interim, though, there's another point here, though, and that's the economics of being a car company.
Sure.
So Elon makes money, probably less money on... It's a really, at the end of the day, a software company. They make less money on the manufacturing of that product. I mean, the actual physical atoms. But you know what they make a shit ton of money on? Where the gross
Electricity.
margin are great, is you're upgrading to the full drive capability, right? Auto
that
drive, right?
and power.
Yeah, and power.
They make a
right?
lot of
So-
money from power.
And a lot of times I think it's just a bit that they flip and automatically, you know, you get a little bit more power, a little bit more range, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he's also nudging you, right?
Yeah.
To upgrade to make his business better, right? So there's a lot going on, I think, on these decisions that are made, right?
Now, having said that, this is like total boomer philosophy coming through right now, right? Because I mean, we're Gen X, but there are parts of me that I think are boomer, parts of me that are more millennial, right? So I have this conversation with a friend of mine about this trend in modern cars, right? And we both say independently, it's like, you know what we kind of want now? We kind of both want like that 70s American muscle. Like no technology. Like we want like the 73 Challenger, right? Or
Right.
like the Mustang from Bullitt, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah,
And
that
some of it is
fastback.
because I think we're trying to recapture that connection that we feel like we're losing because of technology. It even got to a point we both said, so here's a question, all right? Would you ever go back to a dumb phone?
Yeah.
Right. So
good question.
instead of these supercomputers in our pockets, would you ever go to a phone that all it does is make and receive phone calls?
You know, it's funny. I think about that a lot, actually, because it was just the time suck it is.
Right?
No, I think, you know, and I know people that have done that.
I don't know anyone who's
but,
actually done it. But okay, fine. Texting is important. Fine. Go back to the BlackBerry. Remember the BlackBerry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You couldn't really do anything with it other than phone calls and texting and email, right? Like, so there's this bizarre yearning now for a bunch of us boomer types to be like, we don't love this. We kind of want to go back to, and this brings back the essence, the Bear Show, right? Like, we kind of get back to this simpler, you know, less stuff, right? Yeah. What's interesting about that, though, is we don't want to go back to less that's cheap. We want to go back to less that's expensive and like has a craft element.
Yeah, no, I totally get you there. Sure, yeah.
Right? So I think about like, okay, I'm imagining somebody's going to tap into the zeitgeist, right? Could you imagine like the next Porsche that they release? Right. It'll be like $400,000, but you know what? It won't have like air conditioning. It'll just be like the engine, stick shift.
They have race editions like that are exactly that.
Right? Yeah. Like, you know,
here's
stripped down the pure essence of the thing, no mechanic, no electronic, nothing. I bet it would sell, like they would sell out.
Well, I mean, it's interesting you bring up those. I mean, as being a Volkswagen Beetle fan, fan, I mean, the same designer, right? I would love to have a air-cooled vintage Porsche, right? A 911, right? And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Porsche's going in the direction of going full electric. They've got kind of a hybrid right now.
Right.
So a lot of people right now are like, if you want like you may not in 2027 be able to buy a fossil driven, fuel driven Porsche, right? A lot of these things are going that way, right? But no, I think, and then I like driving around in the Beetle because there isn't, I mean, the radio is only AM,
Right.
right? It's just a pure,
Right.
it's a pure experience of just, and luckily we live really close to PCH.
Right.
There's nothing better, man, than just driving up and down PCH in that thing.
Right. So let me bring this
to everything else.
Since we are a real estate podcast in some fact, let me try and bring this to real estate because this is a conversation I've had with some agent friends of mine, right? And obviously, neither of us are agents. We've never sold real, you know what I mean? So this is more, but this is an idea I have, especially in the luxury segment, okay, which is where you live, right? So a luxury segment. What would it look like if an agent said, you know what, I'm going to strip away all the technology marketing. I'm going to go back to the old school. Like, I'm going to go door knocking. I'm going to leave handwritten notes, right? And go back to this, like, so you know what? I'm not going to say, hey, Mr. Klein, you're looking to purchase whatever, $5 million. I'm not going to do some email drip for you. Okay. Instead, I'm going to call you every day.
Yeah.
Right. Or weekly, I will send you a printed, like typewritten, right? Like intentionally embracing that older, right? So like literally a typewritten thing instead of a laser print, right?
Right.
And like, I'm going to mail it to your house. I'm going to drop it off in your mailbox. Like if you went retro, right? But with this idea of the high touch, high craft, could that work in real estate?
I think there's a lot of agents that kind of do that. I know some of the agents I've worked with are very good with that, with handwritten notes and just a text or a call every now and to check in. I know they're probably backing that up with a tickler, like from some CRM, but it doesn't matter. That personal touch is always, and I've said this before on the podcast. If I was, I've said this on the podcast before, if I was an agent, I would like model myself after, the Wolfman from Pulp Fiction. It's the guy you call when you need anything done. I just happen to like have a real estate license too, but I'm going to sell your house. But if you want reservations at the restaurant, I've got a good relationship with those guys. If I've got, tickets to the Charger games, I've got, whatever it is, I want to be the guy.
You're like
I'm going to give Greg a call.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I mean, that's as old school as you get. I mean, I'm not going to like, bury a hooker for you, but I mean, everything up to that, right? I mean, as far as being that go-to person, and you're involved you're involved at the, different things in the neighborhood, in the city, and whatever. You just expand a lot of people, and I always try to like know what the dry cleaner's name is or whoever is, so that I can get on a first name basis. It's just a better experience. It just builds more community too when you're out there.
But let's think about that though, right? Because it's not like this Model 3 is going anywhere. It's not like Tesla is going anywhere. And that trend, right? In other words, efficiency, it is more efficient, right? It's a better, let's put it
safer.
This way.
It's safer.
It's safer. Here's what I love about Tesla. It is the best get around town car. Like, there's no question about it in my mind. Like if most of your thing is like going to work and then going to pick up the kids at school and then going to get some groceries, you're not doing like some long winding mountain roads. That's you just need a transportation utility device to get you from point A to point B, carry cargo. Tesla can't be beat, in my opinion, or maybe other EVs. Like it's just the best, period, right? And then the other experience is maybe like we talked about, like that 69, Beetle, or maybe it's this 73 Mustang, or that mechanical, the feel, the classic. And it's not as convenient. It's not as efficient. That's not what its purpose is.
Yeah.
Is there a case to be made that everything's going to go in kind of that direction? In other words, there's going to be very successful teams and brokerages in real estate that's going to be, look, we're technology. It's a little impersonal, but you know what? It's super efficient. It's fast. It will deliver. Like if you're like, I just need to buy a house, then I'm going to sign up for this agent's whatever. And the AI is going to ping me every time something pops. I could see that. And the other side of things, I'm saying I could see like an intentionally inefficient, right? Intentionally, I don't want the technology. Intentionally, not maybe behind the scenes, there's all sorts of shit, right? But I could kind of see that working, right? Because so many of us in this like boomery mindset. We're like, we don't want the tech.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think you've said this the most, I think, is that it's not like technology. And this is a kind of a, a little bit of cliche now, but it's not technology. It's the people that are going to win are technology enabled agents, right? I mean, I think
Sure.
as a augment to what you're doing, if you can
Sure.
have something behind that, but have that analog front, digital back.
Right.
There's some sort of mullet reference there, but that to me is a little bit more of what's going to win. I don't think it's going to be, and again, going back to your first premise, I mean, buying a house and automating the house I mean, again, it's a big emotional decision. It's not done very much, and it's the biggest financial decision you've ever made. So I still am long on agents for a long time here, but I see what you're saying. I think this is some frustration from, of like some of the things going away, like every generation has, right?
Yeah. So again, we're not giving any real advice, but like I said, man, it was just driving a Tesla Model 3. I'm like, there's no turn signals. What does this mean? It's like, okay, what it means is you don't want me to interface with this car, right? Like, you don't actually want me to drive this car. You want me to punch in a destination, put it on self-drive.
It's a nudge for self-drive,
okay.
Sure.
And you know what? There's something to be said for that. To your point, if you're making a long commute every day, like that's not a drive. Nobody's like, oh, I'm sitting in traffic for the next 90 minutes. Like no self-drive, just sit back and relax. I totally get that. That's the purpose. Okay. When we think about sort of the routine, the task, the stuff where efficiency is what matters the most. So, I don't know. So I know agents get all touchy. Fine, rentals. Nobody's like, I'm going to fall in love with this rental and I want to have this bespoke custom experience because I'm renting this apartment for the next. Nobody's thinking that. So maybe something like that. It's just give me a fucking app. Let me just talk to it and then just minimize any, you know what I mean? Like maybe it's that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the high end, I think there's going to be more and more of us, especially as we go up in the economic class, we're going to want something different. Yeah. I think we're going to want the analog experience. We're going to want that. And I don't know how many agents and brokers really deliver that and teach how to. I don't even know if it can be taught. Like, could you teach someone to deliver that experience?
No, I mean, and that's why I'm always, very long on also in-person events, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Not everybody. I mean, I think there's going to be more of a renaissance and like, okay, if we're going to get together, let's make this cool, right? So,
right.
And that's been tried before, but I'd love to see some really unique experiences.
Hey, man,
to be out there.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we've been talking about doing industry relations, live in a conference and meetups. Like,
yeah,
maybe we should actually make that happen. You're right. Yeah. That would be really cool. So
again, we always joke like, okay, first meeting's at 11 because
that's right.
It's gonna be and then we meet for an hour, then break for lunch.
That's right.
Then come back for another 2 hours, and then another hour, and then we break to the lobby bar. Right. So
exactly. LobbyCon. We've been talking about LobbyCon and doing LobbyCon forever. Right. Yeah. So
that would be funny. It's like, okay, we don't have anything formal. We'll pick the best lobby bar we can think of. My favorite would be the Monarch Bay, which is now, I think it's a different property, but in Dana Point. They got the best lobby bar. I mean, that's just so long and they got a big area. But you say, okay, we're not gonna like, contract with a hotel. We're just gonna say, let's go to the lobby bar. We're gonna hit this lobby bar for these 2 nights, right? And go. That'd be hilarious.
What would be even better maybe is like, so you could do this and say, I don't know, I gotta think about this. Like Nashville. Right. So what you do is you don't book a hotel. You just rent out the bar.
Right.
For like 3 days, 2 days.
It's like RA bar camp, but with a real bar.
Right, with a real bar. And so there's no conference hotel. So you book whatever hotel you want. Just that go to this bar.
Yeah.
And it's like a 4-story bar. There's plenty of space for you to talk. Right. And then the session is like on the first floor, right? For like half an hour. Right? The rest of the time is just me, just LobbyCon.
Well, it's funny because some of the vendors nowadays, if you notice at the different events like mid-year and even NAR, they'll rent out for the daytime, like you know, Morton's.
Right.
They just get a tab. If they have to reach a certain limit, and they can have the whole back area, and there's different. They can, in different rooms or at a a dinner table. They just craft it to be a conference table, and they invite their clients over there. Hey, would you like a ribeye too before you go?
Let's do it, man. Let us know in the comments if you would attend LobbyCon, and more importantly, whether you would sponsor that LobbyCon. Because I think Greg's real long on in person, so am I. I think it makes a ton of sense. I happen to live in a town that's all about in person, experiences and events. So
I'll see you in a couple of weeks here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can't believe we managed to talk, what is that, good 45, 50 minutes about nothing, basically, because there's not a whole lot going on. Thankfully, we did manage to relate it to our industry in some fashion. In fact, you know what? I think next week we do have something special planned there. But if you have topics you want us to address, please let us know. And I think we are going to do a live stream coming up sometime soon. To deal with some of the things, because I know, like the last episode that we did with the forums, it did generate a bunch of emails for me. I don't know if it did for you.
Yes.
So I think a live stream might be a good thing in the next couple of weeks. So
just real quick before you go, was that feedback? What the hell are you doing talking to those guys, or was it feedback like, wow?
It was a mix.
Yeah.
Some of that. Some of why would you platform him? To. There was some praise for us for not, like, we were very, very civil. We were very polite. Like, I like Doug. He's a nice guy. I know him.
Yeah.
It's just, but we weren't just gonna, like, we did kind of ask questions, right?
Yeah.
So there's some of that. So I think it was overall pretty good.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, with that, and by the way, we want updates on this plan. See how that's going, and we need the community support Greg on this plan. And if you have suggestions for Greg, I think he's very open.
I'm making some progress, but
I know, man.
I love these suggestions. So keep saying them now.
We'll get you there, bro. All right. Thanks, everybody. Ciao.